Hello, Mark Dubowitz, the CEO of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and a world-known expert for the threat net of Iran.
Thanks, Navek. Good to be here.
It seems like the war between Iran and Israel, which used to be in the shadow, is now out in the sun.
Well, that's right. I mean, it used to be in the shadows because the media didn't really cover it. It didn't get much attention, but it was a tough war, and it's gone on for many decades. And the reason is because the supreme leader of Iran, Khamanei, has set 2040 as the year that he wants to wipe Israel off the map. And so Israel has been fighting back hard, and now the world is starting to pay attention to this escalation. And so Khamanei is obsessed, and he has a plan to exterminate Israel, and he's been moving forward on various elements of that plan.
Where does it come from?
Well, I think it's deeply rooted in the radical Islamist ideology of the supreme leader and the Islamic Republic, and it's very much rooted in the Islamic Revolution that took place in 1979. It's the central pillar of their ideology, not only to expand Islam across the Middle East and expel the United States from the Middle East, but to destroy the Jewish state.
What is your point of view about it?
Yeah, so this was the agreement in 2015 that was reached between the United States, European countries, and Iran on their nuclear program. And the problem with the agreement, of course, is that it didn't eliminate Iran's nuclear weapons program. It restricted it for a certain period of time, and it contained provisions that were to sunset or to disappear. And they were actually going to disappear starting in 2025 all the way up to 2030 when all the restrictions would be gone. So we're in 2024. Even if the United States has stayed in that agreement, these restrictions would start to disappear, and in a few short years they'd be gone. Iran would have received $1 trillion in sanctions relief and would be able to legitimately and legally expand its nuclear weapons program. So yeah, I opposed the agreement in 2015. I thought the agreement was a ticking time bomb that merely paved the way. Today, in 2024, we're faced with an Iranian nuclear weapons program that is moving forward. The Iranians are the turn of the screw away from having a nuclear warhead, but the program is smaller than it would have been, and Israel at least has today a military option that I don't believe it would have had in 5-6 years.
And do you think now a military force is something appropriate?
I think that there is ultimately going to have to be military force used in order to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities.
In the Iranian eyes, what does it mean when Ismail Haniyeh is being killed on their land?
Oh, it's a huge embarrassment. It's an utter humiliation. They understand today that Mossad has significantly penetrated the Iranian security services. The ability to go into an IRGC safe house, heavily guarded, used for VIPs, and either smuggle a bomb in there, according to some reports, or fire a missile into that room, according to other reports. However it happened, doesn't matter. The fact they took out Haniyeh is a huge embarrassment for the security services. It's also turning the IRGC and the Ministry of Intelligence against each other as both seek to figure out who was to blame. I think Israel needs to plan its operations and its strategy on the assumption that it's alone. That it doesn't have U.S. support, that it doesn't have European support. It's much better to plan your operations and then be surprised on the upside if you get a president in the White House willing to support you, than assume that America will be with you and then be devastated on the downside. There's no doubt that from the Supreme Leader's point of view, the Abraham Accords were a significant threat to his Islamic Republic. I think it's fair to say it's almost an existential threat to have the Sunni world united with Israel against the Islamic Republic. For him, that was intolerable, and it's one of the reasons I believe that he supported the October 7th attacks. It was a way to undermine the Abraham Accords, put huge pressure on the current members, and also try to delay or destroy the possibility of normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel. I think the coalition, once again, I think will be very helpful in defending Israel against that attack. And I think the coalition is important for not only air defenses, but it's also important for economic sanctions. It's important for political isolation of Iran. But it requires a U.S. president who's willing to lead that coalition and who understands that the Islamic Republic is a threat not just to Israel, but to the United States. The Israeli Air Force can attack key strategic areas inside Iran: leadership assets, nuclear sites, drone and missile production facilities. Israel has shown the ability to do that in the past through covert action. Israeli fighter jets flew all the way to Yemen to retaliate against Houthi attacks. They flew, I think, 300-400 kilometers further than many of these strategic sites inside Iran. So I have a lot of faith in the Israeli Air Force and Israeli abilities to do serious damage to Iran. Now, of course, as an American, I'd rather not subcontract American national security to a tiny country of 10 million people with a small air force, even though it's a very effective air force. The United States of America should take care of this, because Americans need to understand the Islamic Republic is building intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads aimed at the United States. We should take care of this problem and not have to punt this to our Israeli friends.
So why are you not doing this?
Well, again, it's a great question, and the question is answerable by who will be in the White House. I'm optimistic about Israel. Israel was actually just ranked the 5th happiest country on earth in 2024, which sounds pretty surprising, not only to Israelis, but certainly to foreigners. But I think it underscores how strong and resilient Israel is.
Mark Dubowitz, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nave, for having me.